This is a cubic inch of sound, and over the past week and a half, something like that, we all read the Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes graphic novel adaptation. I'm Luke, and I'm the man behind the slaughter.
I'm Kevin, and I was going to say the exact same thing.
I'm Nick, and I almost landed a kickflip today.
I'm Tim, and I am not a Redditor.
I am Skolo, and I'm awesome.
Nice. So you guys big Five Nights at Freddy's fans?
Of course. Why
Yes.
would I read this graphic novel if I wasn't?
Are you actually? Because I'm not. I haven't played any of the games before this. This is my first official introduction to the franchise, other than like theory videos.
I'm
I
pretty sure.
have played FNAF 2 on mobile one time in like 7th grade.
Yeah, I remember I played like FNAF and like the Slender Man game on mobile on the bus before middle school.
You know,
That's a pretty vivid memory for me.
I recently had a FNAF awakening. Recently, I don't know why this came back to me all of a sudden. So I just had a dream where I was on Block Island. It was night. There was no one around me. I was all alone. The whole island was just empty. And behind me, Springtrap was following me. He was following me the whole time. And I would look back and he'd still be there. And eventually it got to the point where he was right behind me. And I woke up, but I think this was like my first case of like sleep paralysis. I woke up and I just couldn't move, and I felt like his presence was behind me. I just was like, it was crazy. So after that moment, I was just like, this is awesome. And I immediately jumped on and played all the games.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Springtrap is your sleep paralysis demon. You can actually say that. You can brag about that at school.
Oh, I know. I do a lot, believe me.
Sounds like a good
So
conversation starter.
who wants to start off a plot description? What was this about? Because frankly, I read this like the whole week and a half ago, and I barely remember. It was very forgettable.
So Charlie and her group of friends from way back in the day who used to go to Freddy's Entertainment, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza all the time, decide to return after it's abandoned after the missing child incident, I assume. After it's all been shut down, they built a shopping mall around it, and they just kind of put a shelf in front of the door and hope no one would get in. And they did. And then FNAF hijinks ensue. They only go back 4 times. There's only 4 nights at Freddy's in this, I think.
That is insane.
I didn't actually think about the fact that normally there are a lot of nights at Freddy's. I was just thinking, why did they keep leaving and then coming back to this place? Because they did. They're like, oh, let's explore. This is going to be so fun. And then they see spooky stuff and they're like, oh man, let's go back. But I guess it doesn't get really spooky till the end.
Yeah, honestly, to me, like the first 2/3 of this whole novel story thing are just kind of very forgettable, because it's not really the animatronics are doing anything until the last night. And that was my main gripe with it personally.
My main gripe was all of the writing.
It's a pretty big gripe.
Yeah. I just could not stand it. I don't know why. It really felt like a poorly done fan comic.
I think
how would you rank this among other comic books you've read? Top 4?
Probably the worst I've ever read.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
I mean, I don't read that many comics, but I can't remember a time I've read a comic worse than this. Unless you're talking Saturday morning newspaper comics. Dilbert might be worse, but
what about Control-Alt-Delete?
It's
a pretty bad
fantastic compared to this.
I would imagine that, because this was, originally it was a novel, it was a real book.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't a real book, but it was, it had words and not pictures. I imagine that in the novel, they probably go a lot more into the characters' thoughts and stuff.
I'd hope so.
And so in the beginning, it might be a little bit more interesting, but it might be just way more boring, because I have a feeling that what is half of the comic is a very small portion of the book, but it's just the only actually exciting part to put into a comic form.
Yeah, I also am not super confident in the author's ability to write internal dialogue / monologue. That would probably, honestly, not go too well.
See, my major gripe was that like halfway through, I realized how non-canon this is.
That's true.
Like there's a bunch of characters that I recognize from that one lore video that I watched, but then they die or they don't die when they should be dead, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is happening here? And no, it's just so not canon.
Yeah, so that's what's a little bit confusing, because I remember seeing that same exact thing where there's a character named Charlie in canon, and I think she has like a similar relationship to one, like she's the daughter of one of the guys who made
Henry,
Fredbear's whatever.
Yeah.
But she died as a kid, and in this one she's like a young adult coming back to the town. Clearly, it's not supposed to be the same thing.
I think they covered that up because
died and became the puppet in FNAF 2, but in here she's chilling.
Yeah, in this one she had a twin brother, Sammy, who got kidnapped and most likely killed in this.
Oh yeah,
I'm not sure if that's a character.
He became Golden Freddy. That's what they said.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I think they're gonna bring a like multiverse theory into this universe soon. That's why it's not canon. It's gonna happen. I'm calling it now.
To be honest, though, I don't mind it not being canon at all, because I think it kind of makes a better story that they're not limited to the confusing non-lore of the actual games.
I wouldn't want to follow like one security guard just chilling for 5 nights. That would be kind of lame compared to
you can
like,
have
a group
a canon
of
story without it following like the game. It doesn't have to be an adaptation.
Well, yeah, but I just don't know who it would follow at that point.
Make a new character. I don't know.
Well, that's what they did, and that's why it's not canon.
Well, they didn't make a new character. They took the canon of a previous character and then changed it.
Oh, okay. Well, but they added a lot of characters too, and that made it very different.
The current direction.
My thing is just that if they tried to fit it into the normal quote unquote canon, then A, it would probably be really weird and awkward, and B, the canon would just get changed the next game, and then it wouldn't make any sense, and it would just be non-canon anyway.
Yeah, wouldn't it be awful if this was really weird and awkward the whole time?
As a way of telling a new story that also takes a lot of elements from the games, I feel like they did all right. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
Yeah, the concept was actually not too bad, honestly. Probably one of the better parts of it. It was
one of the screenplays. They were thinking about they wrote a script to adapt Silver Eyes into the FNAF movie that's coming out in the future, and they decided nah, and I'm kind of glad they said nah, because I don't want to see this in a movie.
Yeah, I think I've had my fill of Silver Eyes. I am definitely interested to see what kind of crazy shenanigans they come up with for the movie, though.
Well, the original script, they were going to find out that the animatronics were being built for the U.S. military. And to be honest, I would really like to see that in a movie. It wouldn't be good.
Awesome.
That reminds me of that story I heard about the original script for the Bee movie, where it like ends with Barry B. Benson flying out of the solar system with like a tear in his eye. Because I want to know what happened there. I don't know where this came from, but I, at one point in my life, heard that the original script for Bee Movie was wacky as heck. And it ended with Barry B. Benson in like a spaceship leaving the solar system.
Have you heard the theory that the lady from Bee Movie is actually Freddy's mom from iCarly?
I thought you were going to say Freddy's mom from Five Nights at Freddy's.
No.
Bear animatronic mom.
Oh no.
Yeah, there really need to be more moms in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe.
Also on Mars. Mars needs moms.
That's true.
I don't know why that came to my mind.
We're just referencing all the cinematic masterpieces in one episode.
Yeah, like iCarly.
Yeah. And the upcoming, eventually, Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
I wrote down a bunch of notes, but most of them were just trying to help me keep track of the plot, because, like I said, it was really forgettable. At one point I wrote down a quote where somebody said, lightning strikes twice, but not murder.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
I don't know who said this. I don't remember it at all. It's just funny.
That was either like John
Charlie
or Josh.
said it.
It was Charlie? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it might have been Clayton. I remember reading that and I was like, what does that even mean? Like, why doesn't murder strike twice but lightning does? What are these weird rules coming from?
Oh, there was something that I did like about the early on when they were in the FNAF 1 location.
Yeah.
We see, I think, Clayton go to the kitchen and just make a bunch of noise, and everyone's like, "Oh, what was that?" And we don't ever actually get to see the kitchen ever because there's no actual canon design for it because the camera's busted in FNAF 1.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
That's kind of
Also,
interesting.
wait a second. Isn't his name Carlton?
Carlton.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I am almost positive.
Yeah,
it's
probably.
Carlton.
Okay, I was just making sure I
yeah.
didn't want to like mess up his name.
There's
I already
Carlton,
did that.
Oh, it is
Jessica,
Carlton,
and
yeah.
John.
Yeah.
But John looks like Neil Cicerega, so I called him Neil Cicerega.
I remember from the scene you're talking about with making noise in the kitchen, it's like it was very awkward because like there was a huge crashing noise and it was supposed to be like a fake jump scare. But then like nobody really says anything about it and it just the next panel like pans over to him saying, "I knocked over a bunch of pots in the kitchen." Without like any prompting.
I don't even think it was supposed to be a jump scare. I think it was just like a reference, like a haha. Remember in the game when like the kitchen makes sounds when someone's in it?
Well, I mean, it was Jessica like pulling back the curtain and then the crashing came. So I assumed it was like either a fake jump scare or a reference to jump scares. But like, I just thought it was a strange interaction.
Yeah,
You
so
see
the whole
was-
plot is contingent on this guy Dave, who's the security guard in the mall that Five Nights at Freddy's location is located in. But it doesn't make any sense because the mall is completely abandoned, and why would there be a security guard there? And all of the kids realize this, and they say, "Hey, why would there be a security guard?" "Oh, I don't know. Let's just trust him." And then it turns out he's actually a murderer. He killed all the kids, and he goes in the suit.
He is William Afton, aka Purple Guy,
AKA Dave.
and he gets downed in one baseball bat. He just
Yeah.
dude, he was going crazy. He was popping off in the Springtrap suit.
So
like early on, he was destroying everyone. Once he takes a suit off, he gets like beaten with one piece of wood.
Yeah.
The suit gives him his powers.
Was
Yeah.
when he took off the suit and you could see like all the scarring on him, was
I-
that supposed to imply that it closed on him and he
Yeah.
and he
Yeah, I
survived?
didn't really get that.
Because like I thought it was supposed to like definitely kill you.
It was.
I
And
think
then
that was just more of like a surprise factor to be like a suspense. Oh no, he's dangerous. He has all these scars. Oh my god, and scary.
Yeah, but like the dialogue implied that he knew what it felt like to get killed by it because he was talking about like how painful and how like awful the death via Springtrap is.
all right, guys,
then-
fan theory time. The William Afton in this story is actually the William Afton from the canon games. After he dies and becomes Springtrap, he gets sent into the Silver Eyes universe where he lives.
Okay, and then they send him home when they shut the Springtrap suit on his head again. So
yeah.
he goes back to the other universe, and that's how we get Ultimate Custom Night.
You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
maybe-
I just figured he's probably a ghost. That's what I wrote down. I was like, is he a ghost? I guess.
Definitely not
thought-
a ghost.
I thought that until they killed him again.
Yeah, and blood came out.
Yeah, and maybe his body is just completely impervious, but like he didn't have any scars on his head, so maybe he just never got the head part closed on him, and his head is really
he had
squishy.
scars in the back of his neck.
Yeah, but that could be from like the neck of the suit or something.
Yeah,
He has the healing factor of Wolverine, but not on his face, just everywhere else.
Maybe William Afton is dead, and a ghost is inhabiting his body, and he can only exist when he's inside of a suit. I don't know. Because there's like that weird thing where he just like wasn't responding to anyone talking to him until they put the mask on. Maybe
Yeah.
it's something
Oh
edgy.
yeah.
But also he was
And he said, "I'm
responding
one of them."
outside of the suit before that, like when he was just the security guy.
Maybe he died like
He died like on the walk over
like
there.
right before. Like he was Dave before, like William Afton Dave or whatever. And then the night when they came back and he was like hanging out with them, he was actually dead.
Okay, I like this fan theory. It makes more sense than what actually happened, or at least as much sense.
My main gripe with like how they met him in the first place, you guys talked about how like he shouldn't even be there, is like when they were talking to him, they honestly bought the fact that they were like, yeah, just hang out with us. Yeah, it'd be fine. Give us the tour. And he's like, yeah, that's a great idea. That's perfectly reasonable. We're just gonna have the security guard instead of do his job. Let us through. It's just it was just so stupid. It was funny.
Well, sometimes you meet a cool security guard who lets you hang out at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Oh man, I remember when that happened to me back in high school. Crazy days.
Good times.
Oh, there was this whole subplot about Charlie's dad, who was Henry, who helped William Afton like make this business. He was killed by an endoskeleton
Yeah.
that was like haunting their house.
Yeah, it was there. I don't know why it was there. I don't think that was explained in the graphic novel.
I thought it was just like an endoskeleton that he was working on at first, like when they first introduced it. But then when it was just like standing there with the knife over a pool of blood, I was like, it seemed like it must have been haunted somehow. I don't know. It's just
at least
strange.
in they said that he made the robot to kill him, like it was purposeful. But also, like earlier on, it was just like hanging out in like the ceiling or whatever, and it was like almost speaking to Charlie. But also, that could have just been like part of the nightmare.
Yeah, it looked like it was just sitting in the cupboard.
Yeah, like I got the impression that everybody thought it was a suicide, but it actually wasn't. But I'm not sure like what ghost would have been inhabiting it.
I looked it up because I'm like, we probably missed something in the graphic novels. I'm like, Silver Eyes explained. So the Silver Eyes and the endoskeleton. So the endoskeleton is like, that's the Silver Eyes reference, and that is the endoskeleton of Foxy. That's what Reddit said.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, okay. So that's why
ties
Foxy
it back
had
to the
silver
beginning.
eyes in the.
But I didn't know that endoskeletons could be haunted. I thought it was because the kids were inside the suits.
Maybe it was just like an unrelated ghost that
anything
was just...
could be haunted.
See, here's what it is. I figured it out right now off the bat. So what happened was it's stuck in a time loop because they shut the spring lock on his head at the very end. His spirit went in the past and inhabited that and locking everyone in a time loop.
Aha, future William Afton up to his shenanigans again.
So time travel and multiverse.
Isn't Mangle a thing in the games?
Mangle
but
is
that's
a toy animatronic that takes place. That is a prequel to FNAF 1, so that would have already happened.
But
but it doesn't necessarily follow the same lore.
Yeah, and the mango, the mango isn't like a skeleton. It's kind of just like a torn apart animatronic. It still has like a mask, like a face.
Yeah, it's like Foxy, but a little different.
Yeah, it's Toy Foxy. Just to get my bearings at like try and place to see like how different it is from the actual like canon timeline. I actually wrote down in a text file everything I remembered from the timeline, and I also watched like 2 lore videos to fit everything together. Just prepping for this episode here.
Real dedication.
Yeah, I think this might be besides Highway Blossoms, the most prepared you've ever been for an episode.
I was gonna say, you watched Blade Runner 2049 at 2 times speed.
Listen, I'm wearing my business suit, my security guard outfit. Dude, I'm ready.
You're wearing both?
I change, alright?
Wow, this guy changes.
I like to think that you have like a costume that's like half business suit and half security outfit. So if someone approaches you from the left, you're like a businessman. But if
I am
from
both
the right,
Henry and William Afton, actually.
That's impressive.
Single-handedly constructed Five Nights at Freddy's.
No, I'm not Scott Cawthon. You have me confused.
Oh, you're right. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. That's the one.
And Fredbear's Family Diner.
Yeah.
Who would go to a place called Fredbear's Family Diner? It just sounds suspicious.
Well, I probably would. That would probably be pretty funny, considering Five Nights at Freddy's.
Be like, aha, reference.
Yeah.
When are they going to make a real Freddy's?
I think it should happen. He's got the money. Maybe.
Chuck E. Cheese went bankrupt. Maybe we can have them rebrand.
Yeah.
Is it just me or do all of the animatronics? They're like super weak in this.
I was literally wanted to talk about that. So listen. There's this one panel of Foxy getting like curb stomped. He just gets like destroyed by I think John is his name. It just didn't make sense to me. He's a giant like metal animatronic. There's no way John could have built enough force to knock Foxy that far with the small room they were in, because I'm comparing it to the game, and it was a pretty small room in the game from what it looked like, as well as there's no way Foxy wouldn't have seen him coming. So I don't believe that could have happened.
Yeah, and there were times when I think it was Bonnie who was chasing Charlie around and was like chasing her into the bathroom and like looked under the stall at her and for some reason didn't kill her, and it was really frustrating to me. I was like, these animatronics are just really bad compared to the games.
Also, William, he captured Carlton. What was his name, right?
William, as in Dave, the security guard?
Yeah.
Okay.
He captured him and then didn't kill him. He just put him inside of a springlock suit and said, "Hey, you better not move. It's gonna crush you." But like, he didn't do anything with it. He didn't ask him any questions. There was no reason to keep him alive other than maybe he wanted to just. He liked stuffing kids in suits.
Yeah,
I think it was just more fun that way.
I'm honestly confused as to how Charlie got Carlton out of that suit. It doesn't seem like it makes any sense.
Well, she knew she was in the family business, so she knew how the springlock suits worked.
Yeah, but like it seems like his arms were still like completely in there. They weren't unlatched or anything. So I feel like when she was like pulling him out at supersonic speed, they would have like closed on his arms at least.
Well, the arms, I'm looking at the panel right now. The arms like separated off from like the shoulders.
Oh, I see.
Still,
and
I
it
wouldn't
didn't even
trust...
look like she pulled him out of it. It looked like she pushed it off of him.
Okay. All right, never mind. All of my problems with this comic are gone now. I'm good.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't trust the speed of a springlock going off compared to being pulled out of a suit. Just saying.
They were like, it seemed like they were trying to emphasize how fast it was, though, like how immediate it would be.
Right.
So it just caught me off guard a little bit when, like, I was interested to see how they were gonna do it, and it just rubbed me the wrong way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you see, she counted 1, 2 in one panel, and then 3 in a second panel, and then it took 3 more panels for it to close. So if we just like time scale that.
Yeah, so the springlock suits are fairly important to the plot of this, where the idea is that you can wear the suit as just like a mascot outfit, you know? But then at the same time, it can also be a robot if the machinery, like, I guess all the machinery just gets pushed up into the, like, outer suit part, but then at any time the machinery can just, like, spring back into place, and if a person is still in it, it will just kill them horribly and slowly.
Yeah.
And you really have to wonder, why would they design it this way? Like, this is so absurdly dangerous for no reason.
It seems
they spent
like
all their money on the robot parts, and like they couldn't spend enough. They ran out of budget for like the costume.
Yeah, it seems like there was absolutely no reason for Springlock stuff to even be in there at all. Like, couldn't you just put the suit parts on an endoskeleton? Like, why does it need
I think the Springlocks, like, they connect to the endoskeleton.
Yeah, but like, just use Velcro or something. I don't see why you need something that if you're wearing the suit, it kills you if it goes off wrong.
Henry was really proud of his work, right? He's like, dude, wouldn't it be awesome if it was like all one system?
Yeah, but it was terrible. It didn't work.
And especially because when Charlie is getting it off of Carlton, it seems like it hasn't been tampered with in any way, like it wasn't rigged. I think that's just how it normally came off, was just like it was always a life and death scenario every time somebody had to take one of those suits off.
Well, they did say
Skolo
that it was an old one.
Springlock suit, life or death scenarios.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Because of the dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
okay.
absolutely.
Yes.
No. I'm talking about what was it? Sister Location. I remember watching you play it, and there was like that one where you had to you had to wind up the
Yeah.
spring locks.
So there's this one Sister Location is just it's a very kind of different game from the normal FNAF game. It's just a lot of like mini games, I would say almost, or like kind of like weird tasks you have to do every night.
Like WarioWare.
Yeah. so one of them is you're stuck in a spring lock suit, right? And you have to keep them wound up, or else you'll lose in a way you lose oxygen and such. And so what you do is I don't get it, or you die or something. So what happens is these puppet ghosts start climbing all over you and start like jumping in your suit for some reason, and you need to just like multitask and like spam every single there's probably around 12 spring locks. You have to wind them up well, they're all like you have to shake them off your suit and stuff. It was impossible. I spent at least 2 hours doing it. It was terrible.
Oh, there's arm room inside of the suit for you to just like keep them wound up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they don't immediately die when using these suits.
Exactly.
Why would they design a system where you have to keep winding them up or else you die?
It's fun.
Well, the workers are getting paid minimum wage, so it's all right.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Like way under minimum wage if you actually look at the paychecks. You get like $20
That's true.
per week.
Is this seriously $20 per week?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's maybe Scott Cawthon was trying to make a statement about capitalism.
Oh well,
we have to also adjust for inflation rates.
yeah, because it takes place in like the 80s.
I don't think that $20 is worth
still
a
wouldn't-
week's wages in the 80s.
It wouldn't change much. However, we still have to adjust.
I noticed that they split up a lot. It was weird. Why didn't they just not split up?
They had
I didn't
walkie-talkies.
understand. I didn't
they?
get why they wanted to go in
Yeah, they're
the
like, maybe we
security
shouldn't
room
split
under
up.
the stage all the time.
They're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't split up and like here's some walkie-talkies. We won't actually be split up if we can talk to each other.
And
didn't
then
That's
they
even
not
kept
true.
losing the walkie-talkies.
I didn't even notice that they had walkie-talkies. I don't know how I missed that.
It was in like the last night, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it is really weird, like Tim said, how they kept going into the like control rooms like all the time. I guess it was probably just really fun, but it was kind of it was kind
I
of
was gonna
strange
say,
how they liked it so much that on 2 separate instances on the last night they got trapped inside the control rooms.
Dude, I was actually this is a little off topic. I was scrolling through the pages again, and the dude in the brown shirt kicked Foxy across the room and knocked over like a vending machine. It looks like, and then at another time, just like body slammed Freddy across the room and knocked over like a table. He's beast.
So powerful. I wonder what his versus battles wiki page says.
He's like Nicolas Cage in that one movie.
Let me tell you, that was a great movie. I'm just gonna put that out there. I loved it.
Which movie?
Willy's Wonderland, FNAF parody.
Oh yeah.
Outstanding. My favorite movie I watched this year.
That's kind of sad.
It was such a good movie. I loved every
Fucking hell.
second of it.
I gotta watch it.
You have to. I recommend it to everyone. But and going back to like animatronics being brutally destroyed, Chica just like cornered them, and then I think Charlie just like jumped on top, like on the walls, and grabbed a wire from the ceiling, like ripped it in half pretty much, and just stuck it on Chica and electrocuted her. Like,
Why does this place still get power? And why do they need to bring flashlights if they could just turn the lights on? Like clearly there's still power going through the ceiling.
Well, they only have so much power because if it goes off,
Oh,
you know
you're
what
right.
happens.
You're right.
Well, I just like the fact that Charlie, as like the daughter of the person who owned the place, apparently knows all about how the electricity is wired. Because people just know that.
Yeah, didn't it close when they were children? How did she know that?
Well, you know, sometimes you just look at a ceiling and you're like, electricity.
Yeah,
I wonder
There
what's
it
up
is.
there.
So was the wire exposed? Or did she just like shove her hand through the ceiling and grab a wire to shock Chica with?
I just looked at it. It was exposed, but it showed the panel showed the wire being exposed behind Chica.
Maybe she like jumped over Chica and then jumped back over fast enough that Chica didn't turn around and then shocked her/him. I don't actually know what Chica's pronouns are.
Oh.
No, actually, Jessica said Chica was a him at one point, I'm pretty sure.
Who?
Jessica said that. Who is
I thought
a
this was a
character.
person in real life for a second.
No.
Like,
Oh, Kevin, you know Jessica.
You know, if we're going by that, you see Chica in FNAF 1 is a little confusing, but in FNAF 2, 100% a female. If you base
I don't know if we
Elaborate.
can just look at somebody and claim that they're 100% a female.
what if we go off of like
2021.
the dead
Yeah.
souls, like the children? I guess we can't really tell either.
Yeah.
We don't know their names.
Yeah, or anything really about him.
But you know what I do know about? The fact that Scott Cawthon apparently has 4 sons.
Does he seriously?
According to the end of the book. Like the...
Oh, wow.
It wasn't
Oh,
part of the
right.
story.
Yeah.
It was... Yeah.
And as a great commitment to his franchise, he killed all 4 of them and stuffed them into suits.
Yeah, I
And
was
he
gonna
stuffed
say-
himself into Golden Freddy.
How
And then
kind
he
of
said,
him.
lightning strikes twice, but not murder.
I'm gonna be
I'm sure
honest.
he
I
did.
didn't expect Springtrap to be in this, and I'm so glad he is.
Me too. I really like Springtrap, man.
There were a lot of concepts in this, it seemed.
There were so many, like, ideas and concepts.
Yeah. Words, even.
I
Actually, there
will
weren't that
say, I
many
think
words.
that despite the fact that the Springtrap suits are pretty stupid, I do think they're probably one of the better, like, horror concepts that this
Yeah.
series has come up with, so I think it makes sense to have them in there.
Yeah.
I agree because I do think Springtrap is the best animatronic out of every single one.
He's the only one who's actually visited you, so
I know
you kind of
he's
got
my,
eyes there.
he's my friend. He's my good pal.
Have you seen him since that incident?
No, but I've seen him on Google Images a few times.
Oh, okay.
He
Safe
keeps the
search
windows
honor up.
unlocked just in case.
Yeah, hopefully he visits. I'll make him some strawberry shortcake. I think he'd like that.
That's
probably
oddly
right.
specific.
Yeah.
I could go.
For some reason, the town is called Hurricane. I don't know why. Who calls the town Hurricane?
Yeah, I was confused. I had to like reread the line where they introduced the town name for a couple times before I realized what they meant by hurricane. I thought
Like, why are they going to a hurricane?
I thought maybe the place they lived is just in the center of a perpetual hurricane. I wouldn't put it past them, you know? There have been weirder things in the FNAF lore.
I kind of got It vibes from the town, where it seems like a lot of the adults kind of realize that, like, things are messed up, but they just don't do anything about it. And it's like, do you think that Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is having like a mind control effect on all the adults?
Yeah, because at the end of the book, they witness William Afton. Well, actually, yeah. Charlie just straight up murders William Afton, and then all of the animatronics just drag his corpse away. And then everyone's like, "Well, that happened. Let's just forget about it."
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Charlie says, "What happens now?" And they're like, "What do you?" And then the officer's like, "What do you think should happen, Charlie?" And she's like, "Nothing. It's over. We should just leave it like that."
There were sequels to this, right?
I
No.
believe so. I thought there was one.
Yeah,
There
it was.
was-
I think it was a trilogy of books. I thought.
Well, I thought they were just adapting other things. I don't think there were sequels.
Oh, maybe.
I thought there were sequels to The Silver Eyes.
Silver Eyes sequel.
Yeah, I know. Like the Twisted Ones is another book. Might be the second or third. And I thought
Yeah,
it was
I-
from the same story.
The Twisted Ones.
I've actually seen this book at Target before.
And you didn't buy it?
Whoa.
I didn't buy it.
Wow.
It was a mistake on my part.
Yeah, seriously.
It was a
I'm
mistake.
morbidly curious about
Oh,
the
it
original
is.
book now.
Yeah.
It is a sequel.
I wonder how the story continues.
Still haunted by nightmares of a mass murderer.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Not sure what I
Is that
expected.
really the whole description?
You know,
I'm sold.
I kind of have an idea of how the sequel would go as Springtrap just got dragged by animatronics into a room. So I could assume that Springtrap would probably be the person or the antagonist in the sequel. It would be my guess.
Probably. Because now it's straight up like actual Springtrap. Because like assuming he like William's like dead, so now he's actually like reincarnated Springtrap.
Yeah. That's what I assume that animatronics dragging him are trying to accomplish, at least. I don't know if they do some weird ritual or just like, okay, we got to protect him now because he's gonna be one of us.
They just have a really nice ceremony, and the fact that he comes back is a complete coincidence.
Yeah, they throw a party in the back room.
No, actually, that's where the gif of Bonnie and Chica doing Gangnam Style is from. That's the ceremony.
Yeah, they go on the roof to do it.
Would you guys haunt a suit if you could?
Well, you get mobility.
Can it be like a nice 3-piece like silk suit or something like that? Or does it have to be like
it has to be like a Chuck E. Cheese suit. Let's say you're in this hypothetical, you're already dead.
Yeah.
And you have the choice of either just like whatever happens when you die, or you can stay for a little bit and you get to possess a Five Nights at Freddy's suit.
So in this scenario, do I know what happens after I'm dead?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I'm not God, I can't tell you.
You're going to the same place either way. You just get like a little grace period where you get to be a FNAF reference for a bit.
I thought you were implying that everybody becomes a FNAF ghost when they die. Like you either get what normally happens or you get a FNAF suit. Secret, they're both the FNAF suit.
You know, I would probably take one of those Disney animatronics because they look better.
Yeah.
Like have you seen those ones on like the Avatar like boat ride or whatever?
Yeah,
I saw a video about those. They were really cool.
I would inhabit one of the presidents from the
oh my
god one. Yeah, and I do a little bit of trolling. I do a little trolling around. I wouldn't haunt someone. I just kind of like I'd be a little prankster, you know, if you know what I mean.
Just like you go to the Hall of Presidents with your dad and Disney, and one of them is just doing a Fortnite dance on stage.
Yeah, I might pull a little Gangnam Style action. You know what I mean?
Show back up as William Howard Taft.
Right? Taft. William Howard Tafton.
Oh no!
Hate that I laughed at that one.
It was funny.
Thanks, Tim.
How about the art style? You guys like the art?
The style wasn't bad, but the competence was very poor.
They drew the animatronics pretty well, I think, but the people looked kind of weird.
I had a suspicion they traced like models of the animatronics. It looked very proportional. I don't know.
Maybe they were just good.
For the onstage stuff, I agree.
I'm not going to doubt that.
For the onstage stuff, I agree with like it could be traced or copied or something, but in like the other shots, they look very strange.
Like the ones where they're on stage, it just looked very very much like them, I guess.
The artist definitely hasn't gotten a full handle on like the way a human body looks yet.
It's stylized.
I don't think
all of the faces I didn't like how they looked, though. Like none of the expressions were good.
Yeah.
Like at first I noticed that Charlie was drawn with a very pronounced upper lip, like the way that they draw like female lips, I guess. But then they just kind of scrapped that idea later on. And then it came up again when because like at the very beginning, there was like a flash forward to the future when Charlie was getting attacked by Foxy. And then that exact page got copied later into the book. And I noticed that it almost looked like different because Charlie was drawn slightly differently. And I'm like, oh, that's probably when they drew her at first and then they changed. But then they went back and put that page towards the end and it just looked different. I don't know.
I didn't even notice.
It's a pretty minor detail. Yeah. I wouldn't expect anyone else to notice. I mean,
I mostly noticed the way like characters' arms were, like the way they were moving. You'd expect them to look a certain way, and they just didn't most of the time. Like there was one point where Carlton puts his hand behind his head, and it looks.
Oh, like I remember. I think I remember that exact one. He had like his fingers on his neck, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah. It was just a very strange. It was something very uncanny about the way he was positioned, and that happened multiple times throughout the novel, graphic novel. I guess
the way like I think John, he like punches Dave. I think at one point, and like the way his arm is like positioned, it's just like straight instead of like being bent. when you like like punch someone in the face. It doesn't punching someone doesn't work like that. So it's just a little weird art.
Yeah.
Honestly, art's a little lacking in this, in my opinion. But I would agree with the animatronics being drawn well. That's about it. Everything
I
else
think
kind of.
literally the best panel in the entire thing was when William Afton got just like smacked over the head. That was amazing.
That was
That was a good one. Yeah. Also, something I noticed, just looking through it right now, is that William Afton totally has the mouth shape and chin of Waluigi. Like the way that his lips just like contort to his face, it has that style.
You know, I think he could make a good troll face if he tried.
Yeah.
That's an interesting compliment.
Problem.
Oh yeah, one thing that I noticed that was kind of weird was when Dave was explaining how you would die from the Springtrap suit. You know, he was talking about how slow and painful it would be. I was reading that like, this sounds really familiar, and I don't know why. And I realized that Kevin had shown us the lore video beforehand, and I think the guy... So either these are both taking it from a common source, like they said the same description in one of the games or something, or that guy took the description from the book, because it was like the same exact thing.
I think it's from the book, yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah, he did.
I tried to get
book,
his voice out of my head while I was reading it, but I couldn't. You know, it was just very strange. Because I gave Dave or my William Afton like a voice in my head while I was reading this, and then when I hit that one line, it was just that one YouTuber's voice.
The guy in that video had a FNAF OC too.
Yeah, he was very into it.
I'm surprised it wasn't in the graphic novel. He should have been there.
Okay, guys, describe your FNAF OC.
Springtrap.
Dang,
but
you
blue.
took mine.
It's like William Afton,
Mine's
except
green.
he's 9 feet tall. That's it.
Freddy Fazbear.
So my guy, he's
purple.
a big snake monster, and his name is Snaker, and he likes pizza, and he serves the pizza in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
That's a really good OC. I can't believe.
Thanks, I just came up with it.
That's impressive.
Could he beat Goku in a fight?
Depends.
Okay.
I'm not going to elaborate.
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say it depends, and that's canon.
I'm gonna say yes, and my fan canon is going to become more popular than the real canon. Just you watch.
Wow, Charlie is extremely short.
And she's green.
I'm looking at this one panel where she's standing on like a toilet, and like she can barely reach over like the door. She's like on her tippy toes, like on top of this
How old
toilet.
were they supposed to be again?
I think like just
under 18.
I thought it was like
Yeah.
just after high school.
Well,
I think that's right.
one person was just like, once I become 18, I'm gonna leave this place.
Yeah, but one of I think they were all like slightly different ages because one of them had already moved away, and like one of them.
Oh yeah.
Was like going to Cornell or something.
New York.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one person who Jessica lived in New York, and then one other person was going to Cornell. So I think like some of them had graduated, and some of them might not have yet.
Okay, that makes sense. That's reasonable.
They're all just having a get together, wherein some of them may die.
Isn't that how all get-togethers go?
I guess technically, you could die at any get together.
All people who have get-togethers die eventually.
Wow, get-togethers are so dangerous. We should stop doing them.
That actually hasn't been proven yet. I've been to get-togethers and I haven't died yet. So
Okay, you're right.
Raise some good points.
I'm sure there's more people who are have similar views to me.
But how do we know that you're not like Dave? And maybe you did already die and then just came back as a ghost or something. Nobody knows.
Because I don't have weird like tattoo scars all over my body. Only ghost people kind of have that. Only ghosts who can also die again somehow.
He had a 1-up. He had just like one extra life, but not any more than that. Or actually, he probably does, considering there's a sequel.
I mean,
he's a cat.
Is he technically like completely fully dead as Springtrap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he dies a little after 2000, because the first game takes place in 2003, I think.
Okay.
And he dies a certain amount of time after that, and then we see Springtrap in FNAF 3, which people think is 2023.
Whoa, that's happening. That's gonna happen soon.
So it's
FNAF
happening at the
3
same time
will
as
be real
Endgame?
in 3, 2.
I can't wait to go there in a few years.
Fazbear Frights, let's go.
That'd pretty be epic.
Didn't it not actually open in the lore?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I don't think it actually opened. It closed before it could open.
That's some good business right there.
So you guys have any final thoughts?
Oh, there's one
FNAF
thing I wrote
awesome.
down.
Oh.
Carlton's dad, the chief of police of the town of Hurricane, as seen on the door of his office. I don't know about you, but like, if your son goes missing, like, and he's a prankster, right? Like, we already know he's a prankster because it's Carlton guy.
It's a bit of trolling.
But even still, as the chief of police, I wouldn't make my first assumption be, he's just, he was kidnapped. I don't think so. He's just pulling a prank on you guys, and then you left without him. That's a prank. Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of part of the reason why I said that it seems like the adults just kind of ignore all of the shenanigans happening in the town.
Yeah, that's just Scott Cawthon saying a cab.
That actually reminds me to another point about Carlton's dad that he said the following: justice penalizes the guilty, but it also must protect the innocent. It means that sometimes the guilty ones get away with horrible things, but it's the price we pay. And I don't know if that really fits this wacky animatronic horror novel, but it was interesting to see that as a line.
Maybe it was more fitting in the book. I have no idea.
It just seemed very out of place at the time. I don't know.
Yeah, it still seems out of place now.
Yeah, maybe it's just an out of place
the
line.
Police officer that I thought was interesting is that he just pulled out like a sledgehammer and just knocked down the wall of the establishment.
I forgot
just,
about that.
Ran in, tried to pull a gun on Springtrap.
Once he
Would
started
you guys
doing
recommend it?
kind of a lit. Absolutely not.
Only to people who have somehow not read it already and are hardcore FNAF fans.
I would say, yeah, it was kind of funny.
I would not recommend it.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. It was a little bit entertaining because it was so short, really.
That's true.
I imagine that the book must be really boring.
It's excruciating.
I saw one complaint. It's like
More
clearly
painful
this
than
is
dying in
hyperbole,
spring
but like
lobster.
it takes 10,000 pages for them to just explain how they got onto the roof to get into the skylight, but they did it in like one panel.
Points
sounds
for
like good writing to me.
conciseness.
Alrighty, so do you guys want to move on to the voting process? Are we ready for that?
I think we are.
Okay, so interestingly, we had a tie for what we're going to review next week. It is between Alita Battle Angel and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the comic. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, we can read two comics in a row. It can happen.
I don't believe it.
We talked about this.
Nope. Didn't happen.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at the people lighting up for this. So you can vote for just one of them. We're just gonna go through the two.
Skolo chooses.
God.
I just said we were gonna vote.
Yeah, I thought it was a vote.
Yeah.
Skolo votes and we listen.
I don't think that's how votes work.
Okay, so if you want Alita Battle Angel, then say aye.
Aye.
And Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the comic.
Aye.
No.
Skolo didn't vote. So we're still
Skolo
tied.
chooses, yeah.
Okay. Here's what we're doing. Can I hear the first one again? I got just give me one more chance. I got this,
It's
guys.
Alita Battle Angel and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the comic.
Alita Battle Angel is like the weird anime live action movie, and Scott Pilgrim is
Alita Angel.
All right.
All right, that's what we're doing. Woohoo!
yes.
I did suggest that, but as you can tell, I wanted to read Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, and
Me
vice
too.
versa.
I was okay with either, but I just thought Alita would be funnier to watch than Scott Pilgrim to read because I already saw the movie.
They're
That's
pretty
fair,
different.
but the comic's kind of different.
especially at the end.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, this isn't a cubic inch of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the comic, but I guess since we're not reviewing it, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I guess we could.
Email us.
We could.
At a cubic inch of sound.
At gmail.com.
The end.